Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. Hey there, Bravehearts, Urbanites, and Coach Mad Hatters. I'm forcing it. I am honestly forcing it. I had to throw cards out, and what's rather amazing is all that came out. And I honestly threw the cards out so that I could have a proper channeling for this incredible attitude that I have. I had a major attitude going on. And I didn't want to get up here and just start ranting. But what was so tickling is that the cards actually like confirmed this shit. As if it was like, you know what? You have a fucking right to be upset. And if you want to turn the camera on, baby, do it the way you do it. And I'm like, okay, here we go. I pulled these cards yesterday, right? And I sat on them still, even after they came out. And I will say, throwing out the cards helped not disintegrate the anger or balance the attitude, because I'm still like cranky about this shit. And I did have a major rant early yesterday morning, but something magical happened. I caught up with my barber, and even though I didn't get a haircut, he came through and we sat for a little while and we talked. And he's been my barber for 13 years, as well as my friend and my coworker, a fellow compadre in the beauty and barber. The beauty and barber. Well, it's a lot going on in it. Okay, you know what? I really should have like minimized the distractions, but it's quite a bit going on. So I'm going to ask you now to forgive me if, in fact, I have to pause or pause. I'm glad the sun is shining today. I'm glad that it is a beautiful day. It's a beautiful day. It's a wonderful place to be in Washington, D.C. It's a lot going on. There's a lot going on. I know all over the place. But there's a lot going on the inside and on the outside. Now, initially, before the rant or before these well-deserved but like hyper-intensive energies came upon me, I was actually scheduled, or should I say, was in my plans to do a abracadabra briefing with these 4 cards. Now, I think I may mention maybe in the last video, I think. If not the last one, the one right before that one, where I said that I love it when the 10 of Pentacles and the 10 of Cups come out in the same spread. Now, it's not something that I see too much, But I've noticed that it has come out twice in the last 2 weeks after me having voiced how I like to see that. I wonder. I wonder what's really going on in the non-physical spaces. I've been finding myself contemplating as well as writing quite a bit, mainly journaling. I have not produced anything that I've posted in the public domain as of yet. But there's an outpouring of urgings. I try not to use the word provocation too much because such a sexy word. I be loving that word. I try not to oversaturate. But yeah, that's been provoking me to tap into and pay more attention to what it looks like for me personally inside of a Ten of Pentacles or a Ten of Cups or the combination of 2020. Mainly because 2020 does not look anything like that energy, combined or otherwise. But then I had to like take a step back, and this is what came to mind. And I'm gonna show you these cards, but this is not the cards that was, like I said, this is not what we're gonna talk about. This was the four little cards. The theme was going to be along the lines of cornerstones and sturdy foundations, especially those who have taken up the call to build legacy, knowing that sometimes when you build legacy, you honestly can sacrifice or may need to sacrifice 10 years worth of whatever it is in order to solidify that particular foundation. It takes a long while to, especially for solo executives, solo entrepreneurs who are tapping into the works of reversing curses. Thought leaders, but mainly the practitioners that deal in interpretations of non-physical spaces. That which cannot be counted and measured. That which can only be seen beyond the naked eye. Those folks, they know. Writers, artists, musicians, composers, they know that it could take a while. You will have a repertoire of many things unpublished, but the stuff that actually gets a chance to manifest ready for the world, it can take a while for it to all come together. So much so that quite a bit of frustration goes as the constant companion for many. Um, just because we're learned and conditioned to want it now, want it ASAP. We want it convenient. We want it fanciful. We want it luxurious. We want it beautiful. We want it shiny. We want it polished. We want all those things, and we want it ASAP. We want the easy button. We want to hit the easy button with everything. Now, trust me when I tell you, contrary to popular opinion, I am the key maker. I am the key maker on a lot of levels. Metaphorically speaking, therapeutically speaking, unconventionally speaking, intuitively speaking. Yeah, I'm that. And what I am learning is that usually, and I'm talking about, I am equating it to the key maker in the Matrix. Usually, and you saw the small room that he sat in, and there was nothing around him but keys. Sometimes it makes me wonder, like, who gives or who provides shelter and food for the key maker? Because the key maker definitely is not an income generator. And this is what this card spread is talking about. Like, it's talking about how we are now being faced with the energies that is rendering uh, the reconciliation of generational karmic debt, and that inside of a tribe is where we must begin redirecting our attentions to. Um, we've lost sight of that. And I'm going to say we as an all-inclusive tag phrase, because I don't feel like itemizing when it comes to human beings anymore. This shit is tricky. And honestly, we all have interconnectivity to non-physical spaces while we visit this realm, this third dimensional realm, that I think that race relations is the biggest distraction inside the entire human experience. My opinion. So I debated or contemplated or toggled back and forth with if I was going to reveal these cards in this setting, or if I was going to leave it like I had initially decided to do and do this one on its own, because it's miraculous. And I shuffling while I was listening to I can't remember the title, but The Channel of Love with Lucy. It was one of the more recent segments, so I was watching it day before yesterday. Yes, because the big spread came out yesterday. So day before yesterday, just mindlessly shuffling, like to charge my cards and just begin the relationship with them. This is a new deck of cards, which is by far is the most incredible, or close to. I'm still uh, the favorite is the my Wild Unknown Tarot, but Paulina Tarot. The artwork is fantastic. I'm not exactly sure if you will be able to really see like the whimsical artistry that abounds this deck. It does. It does. It really does. So, but it's very detailed. I'm not sure if you can catch the detailing in the cards, but they are incredible. But I'm noticing that they don't come across the camera on the camera as well as my Wild Unknown tarots. And this is the first card in the Big-Momma spread. I think that's what I'm gonna name it too. That's the Big-Momma spread, because even though it affirmed my anger, it still has quite a bit of incredible, intuitive, remarkable energy that surrounds it, that says it's not as bad as we think it is, but it is bad, and that we do owe ourselves a deeper look. We owe ourselves, individually and collectively, some quiet deliberations with our Council of Elron. I name it the Council of Elron for myself specifically because I like the thought of how everyone in attendance was serious, undivided, and true to self. Nobody was in the room or at the table contemplating with a double mind. They were very sure of who they were and what they brought to the table without worrying about what anyone else thought about what it was they were bringing to the table. I have it's race cars. Well, I don't know if it's a race car or not, but it's a turbo something, and it loves flying up and down 23rd Street. It's incredible. Okay, and sometimes it throws me. It throws me off. Okay, so I've decided to tap into these as our openers. And so, oh, I didn't start up here and mix them up, but I know how they went. Yeah, because the Ten of Pentacles and the Ten of Cups were together. They were the last two. Oh, and so like I was saying, I was watching Lucy, listening to her do a live and just mindlessly shuffling, and these four cards came out together. And when I saw these two, baby, of course I hollered. I'm a novice tarot interpreter, of course. Like I'm literally charging the cards as homeroom time, as classroom time. I have, with each deck, I have a journal. And so my time with the deck, trying to understand the deck and reconfirm some things. And I've been quite astounded actually with the answers that come through when I pose a question to the cards. We love to say, throw all your cards out on the table, which equates to be real with me. Take off your mask, be authentic, tell me what's good. Um, and I'm noticing that more and more we're finding that hard to do. We're finding that damn near impossible to say how we honestly feel. And I know what it means to keep the peace. I know that there are some folks that it would even like to say certain things to me. Um, and I straddle the fence with it. Like, really, I don't look forward to the moments where there's potential conflict or in those tough spaces where agreement is not readily available. But the balance of reconciliation requires that those moments enter the ledger of life as well. Um, I think most will find that I've become addicted to this, and not in a shadow, not in my shadow. Let me put it like that, because those that speak in tarot know that the minute they hear addiction, they think the devil card. And as I've said before, the jury is still out on how I actually perceive the energy around the devil card, because I'm a Capricorn. I've always had to differentiate perceptions around certain social conditionings. And this was way before I even knew tarot was a thing. That's a whole nother story, by which how I bumped into it, realizing it's an ancient language. Now, yeah, it's been toyed around with and redesigned, and it has progressed with the times, but the bare minimum, the basics, especially surrounding the major arcana, hasn't changed much in the last millennia. I dare to say. Let me say that. But I know that the foundation, the legacy foundation of the language of tarot has remained the same for centuries. And I am honestly just finding out about them 24 months ago, roughly. So, learning to speak this language, learning to honestly understand and comprehend what it means, authentically means when someone says, it's in the cards for me. It wasn't in the cards for me. Lay all your cards out on the table. Let's see what's really going on. Allow the cards to speak. One of the drawbacks that I found out with general readings via the virtual world is that you never know if you're going to find yourself in that particular reading. Thus, you must attend quite a bit of them. But something enlightening flipped on for me when I stopped, no matter whose channel, because usually I get my the insight of my tarot readings through YouTube. So it doesn't matter whose channel I go visit, who I go sit with. The moment that I stopped showing up to be entertained and started showing up to be taught a language, what resonated with me is very easy to identify. And I remember there was a reading a few months back when these two cards came out in a reading, and the interpreter, she almost lost it. But then she also said that that even this combination is a lot like beauty, and only in the eyes of the beholder will the true essence of what the card's showing up for you means. And I believe that's one of the reasons why it has taken me so first card out is strength, and the second card is wheel of fortune. So I believe that the reason why it has taken me several hours to just allow my intuition to speak to me about this, allow a soft class to be in session, is because I am getting to the point where I still must infuse my perception into the reading. And that I'm now taking up the cause to say that most often when I throw cards out, hardly ever will it be for general purposes. It will not be off a GP. It's going to be very specific, very intentional, and for the most part, it'll be for my information, and then I will get up here and post it to share. But as I've often said before, and I'm not sure if this will change, but it still stands that I do not think I'll be learning tarot or facilitating readings for the sake of divination. Um, Being a tour guide of the valleys and the shadows of death, I usually, find myself throwing cards out to get a better understanding, to clear the fog, for those that travel in the trenches, those that are attached to the grassroots, those that find themselves having to sharpen their night visions, and quite honestly are a bit bummed out about the fact that they have to, especially those that have bought into the narrative that says that you must only be light, that power is only within the light. Like the Carolines of the world, go to the white light, go towards the white light, Caroline. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing, because that's how Caroline got saved, right? But I really wonder, as I always do, if Caroline had a sharpened night vision, if Caroline wasn't afraid of the shadows, if Caroline honestly knew that the non-physical world, even though it is shrouded in darkness, is just as enriching and empowering. It's very cultivative. And that a balance of the two will bring forth one's cornerstones by which it may build upon. So many lessons and failures and heartaches and detours, misconstrued a lot of things trying to learn me. And learning this language, I found me. So I think that it is respectful with tons of reciprocity when I say that I've become addicted to the combining energies of the Eight of Cups, the Ten of Cups and the Ten of Pentacles. So let's take a look at these 4 cards. I know we are going to go into the extended hang suite in this session, because there's a lot of cards for the main throwdown. And I also pulled 4 oracle cards, which was already supposed to be part of that spread, because when I say that all of a sudden this rush of anger came over me about the fuckery that us human beings still have to contend with, regardless where you show up on the totem pole. Because for real, those that are considered racially unsavvy, I wouldn't want to be them. But I am quite tired of my people having to deal with this fuckery, like this generational curse. It is time to put it to rest. And what's going to make that doable is the shifting in paradigm that says everything must be easy, luxurious, shiny, polishy, on fleet. Everything is booming and banging, and because there are some that have not missed a beat. There are some whose bank accounts are not in jeopardy. There are some who still can style and profile. There are some that are in so much agony. There are some that live with a daily fog. There are some that are seriously contemplating if they should even continue to participate in this realm. And we're going to tap a little bit into what our society calls suicide. And I am going to reveal a little bit of how I feel about that, especially coming from a point of celestial strength. Because those that ascribe to the narrative that says we honestly are spirits in embodied flesh inside the third dimension to see what it be like, then suicide is not really that bad of a choice. And I hesitate because I'm still working out the inner voice of it all. And I'm gonna tell you real quick before we unpack this. I'm gonna tell you what brought me to that notion. Now, I've mentioned several times, so it is no secret that I was engulfed with the concentration of suicide for a while. I want to say my late 20s till about my mid 30s. And I didn't really speak to anybody about it. Only a handful of close friends knew how bad it was. I didn't speak to any of my family about it. No, that's not true. My cousin Nickelodeon, so she knew. But I don't necessarily find myself having to, um, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't have to contend or play dodgeball with her judgment. I think we know each other well enough to know she knows that I have a wretched side as well as a righteous side, and so we just we free flow with certain things. So she knew. As a matter of fact, she was the one who um, provided me transportation when I did my stretch at Washington Hospital Center's mental ward for them to tell me you don't even qualify to be here. You're sad. You are full of sorrow. Yes, you are depressed, but you aren't what we would associate as mentally disturbed. You definitely have scruples. You have them. More so, we want to hire you. It would probably be a conflict of interest right now, seeing as that you came in this way. You can't bring you in around the other way. So let's break this down. Um, because there are some that are missing this energetically, and so for life to be that fucked up, those that figure like they want to tell somebody else not to end their life, I really be wondering what it is that they would say to the person who is energetically insufficient without any religious context. And I say that only because the more and more we tap into the founding fathers of religious components, we realize that it is, well, not all of us, but it's a growing ratio of individuals whom are realizing that they did not lead with the truth when they were building these sanctions and enterprises, and that it mainly was to contribute the founders as well as the social engineers of that day. And yeah, I promise you, I don't feel like going down that rabbit hole. This reading is going to be long enough. So I'm going to I'm filing that in a mental tickler so that I will be able to do a separate. Yeah, I'll do a separate. Okay, so let's get with it. And I think I might even do a part 1 and 2 with this. Um, because we and I'm I'm sitting diligently to pull this forth. So the strength card. Wow, right on the page. Pull right to the page. So I guess that's confirmation that I do need to continue on with this. So inside of and the guidebook for the Paulina Tarot is quite delicate. So you have to be careful with it. And see, like unlike my Wild Unknown guidebook, this baby here, yeah, this joint is sturdy and it is ready to get it. You hear me? It just loves me. It loves, yeah, I'm not rough with my books, but I give it a go. And it loves me. We're going to tap in to this too shortly. So, and we're just going to talk about the meanings of strength just so that we will have something substantial to lead with. So, the meaning of the strength card is courage, determination, being constructive, self-disciplined, trusting one's own abilities, compassion, seizing control of your destiny. And I know destiny is quite a tender trigger right now because things are so hellish. Um, and I always give pause when honestly trying to figure out day-to-day maneuvering and what would be expected of each individual. And I know my folks are the worker bees of society. And so I know quite a bit of our value is twined up in one's ability to be of service and generate income. But as I mentioned at the beginning of this segment, being forced back into your tribal mindset will shift you into a paradigm that shows that every single soul did not necessarily come to the realm knowing or even being destined to be an income generator. There are specifics to this thing. But having the majority of one's people be the human resource, like honestly bred and sold for the likelihood of enterprise within those conversations, inside those circles, inside those conversations, a restructuring, a redesigning of values is taking place. That's not an easy feat, nor is it a light one. It's a very dark, heavy one. And so understanding that we are being called to sharpen our night vision so that we may sit with our shadows. And of course, this isn't for everyone. Everyone does not have hard, heavy, weighty work to do. They don't. Some have already, some are moving into it. Some are guiding others as they maneuver it. So, as usual, per the third dimension, very rarely do anyone arrive or cross paths equally. So, take stock of where you are and don't, I'm not going to tell you not to. You can do whatever the fuck you want to do. But I'm going to say, I'm going to extend the suggestion to not automatically judge somebody because they are not where you are, or where they are might be completely foreign to you, and being left with your assumptions to think that they relate to life the way you do is what's going to compromise and cheat this cycle of energy that has come to tough love us. Um, Breaking out of the social conditionings that says that the industrious corporate shenanigans to bleed the human resource fractions dry is coming to an end. I'm not really sure about the marketplace, um, but what I am sure about is that the conversation that me and my barber had yesterday, and it was really interesting too. The impromptu way that it all unfolded, and how over the last few um, tarot interpretations that really rang home for me have been telling me to relax the routine, allow the unexpected to have some shine time. And that by me doing so, by me surrendering to the moment, that some amazing things were going to begin to show itself to me. And I even, kind of like was when he said, "You know what? I'm right around the corner from your house. I'm about to swing by," and I'm like, I'm not ready to receive you, like, because I hate the folks to pop up. I hate it. But I'm learning that if I stay into the whole it has to be planned thing, that I'm propping up all that now is being shifted and redesigned. And so let me tell you how the ride went. Um, because sitting on the porch, um, wonderful weather yesterday, to the conversation actually provoking us, hopping us into the vehicle to go take a drive. And he knows that I am the bookworm. He knows that most of what I contend with is in small spaces. So the majority of my head work or my heart work is done from pretty much this area right here. So I spend quite a bit of time here. So I used to joke some time ago about how I was stationary. It happened to be one of those folks that love stationery. So the whole stationery thing became just a hilarious joke. So I said all that to say he knows that I don't really particularly get out much, like being out and about in the world, knowing what is really going on with it, and put my hands on it firsthand, tap of being in the mix and the mingle of things. Um, I have not been since I retired from the beauty industry. He's still in it. He owns a barbershop, and he has several workers, and so he is out and about on a daily basis. And so, it's like, come on, let's come on, tell you, we gonna go for a ride. We just gonna see the trees and see what's going on. While that was happening, an interesting conversation took place. And every now and again, he likes to call me coach. And when he mad, he called me something else. But I swear I ain't bothered by it because I call him the same thing. Like, it's just love all over the place. So he decided to let me in on a few things with regards to how his life, personally and professionally, was reshaping as a result of all that's going on. And he said, Coach, I'm not even baffled about what's going on anymore. He said when the mandate first came down and the barbershop had to had to close up. And so, yes, everybody was panicking. And he said, including himself, he has operators that he provide space for. So it wasn't just his livelihood that he was concerned with. Okay. They will be returning back to the shop tomorrow. Today's Sunday, May 31st. And I think I am about to make this a two-parter now that they are doing the landscaping and stuff like that, because that is definitely about to be a distraction. But he said, some of the things that I honestly had been putting off because I had become addicted to that shop, and the money was, and so things, were being led by my agility to be in the shop and generate income. He says, but now that I'm just falling in with it and making the arrangements accordingly, he say, I am now discovering and engaging and experiencing things that I know I wouldn't have initiated on my own. He says, in my mind, I knew there were things that I wanted to get to at some day, at some point. But had there not been this ripple or these waves, he figures he still wouldn't be. And so it made my heart very happy to know that there are major league adjustments that are being made that were not necessarily planned, but are doing just as well, if not better. And so it takes me to the strength card and how this energy is still very much present. Us being inside the thing that says seize control of your destiny, as well as trusting in your own abilities. The card showing up, especially as the first card, lets me know if I may be the messenger. And remember, we're dealing with the new moon in Gemini energy still. And so with my Saturn being in Gemini, I am here to serve as one of Mercury's conduits to say that there is still strength here for you to work with. There is a variety, and that so where you only liked vanilla ice cream, French vanilla ice cream, that there is now opportunity for you to try a handful, if not more, of different flavors. And you can metaphorically apply it any kind of way you want to. The next card, the Wheel of Fortune. Unexpected good fortune, advancement, luck, renewed hope, brought about with change, opportunities. Now, the Wheel of Fortune card, I haven't had that much interaction with. I want to say it probably has only came out once or twice, if I'm recalling correctly, in spreads that I have been facilitating myself. To have it be here and it's now just hitting me how so divinely timed for this card to show up as what's going on, as we're speaking about what's going on. But are we really speaking about what's going on? Maybe we're speaking about what could be going on. I think that's what we're going to be doing. Because honestly, I'm not one to be regurgitating, especially if we are not regurgitating for the sake of solution. And right at this moment, I think solution is going to be, as with any meticulous transition, is that it has to be from the individual into the collective. It has to be from the inside out. It is not necessarily going to be, in my opinion, not necessarily going to be in conjunction with how can I say this? It will be a team effort, but remember, the team works it works as a result of harmony with the individuals. So it will be the individual who will actually be contributing to the collective to bring forth what I'm depicting, translating the presence of the Wheel of Fortune card to be. Here we are. Oh, and look, come on. You know, well, I know you can't see it because it's little, but come on, like right there. Bam, here we go. Ah, Ten of Cups. And I'm going to read this entire thing. A blissful couple holds hands beneath a tree of life, upon which 10 cups have grown. Several birds have made their happy home, and have made their happy home amid the foliage of the tree. Ten of Cups means embracing happiness, spiritual bliss, celebration of love, good family life. Ten of Pentacles. A girl in a bejeweled dress gazes into a golden ball handed down from her ancestors. In this ball, she foresees future endeavors. It's interesting. You know, if you can see it. And I'm starting to notice that it really doesn't matter what deck I'm looking at. The Ten of Cups and the Ten of Pentacles is always a beautiful thing. Always. And so the meaning of the Ten of Pentacles is abundance, prosperity, comfort, good fortune, and flourishing ventures. So, here's what I discovered yesterday while we circled the city. Those on the grassroots, those inside the trenches, have always had to hustle. They've always been the pulse of how everything else permeated upward. And that adaptability, flexibility, has always been something that made the world at the bottom of the totem pole go round. Always. Folks are now tapping into multi-generational living. They are pulling back on the frivolousness of one or two people in a 5-bedroom house and nobody else. Like all of that. Everybody is, I'm not going to say everybody because I don't know everybody, but the consensus around those that I am within 6 degrees separated of is finding the soft flexibility to redesign tribe, to understand that the city life still has its ancient roots in emotional architecture, and that this mode of being the human resource without tapping into how, and I'm not talking specifically about slavery, even though that was a major conduit. It really was. But we still must address the mentality, personality, and emotionalities that has come along with it and has been allowed to mature and fester. And we're talking about on the master mentality as well as the slave mentality. And that's honestly a thing. It's actually a warranted philosophical study, sturdy of its own content. I'm trying to refrain from directing folks directly to online to go look up shit because I've even been noticing changes in that arena. And in part 2, I'm going to show you my dictionary that I have been using. I want to say I have the date. Anytime I get a brand new book, I always put my name in it and put the date that I start reading it, the date that I get it. Yeah, I think it's the date that I get it instead of the day. Some, like my post-traumatic slave syndrome by Dr. Joy DeGruy, I actually, anytime I visit with that, I log in when I visit with it. It's just that serious. So between the date when I first get it, and then the dates that I engage. And that's mainly for documentation and documentary cataloging. Because, yeah, the documentary is getting made. It's on the bucket list. So, like 50 Cent say, yeah, I'm going to do it or die trying. I lost my thought. That's probably a good indication that I'm going to go ahead on and end it. Yeah, I'm going to end part one. My apologies for it being so like straggly. Like we are Fraggle Rock over here right now. I will say that I'm quite happy that I am not as upset as I was. Um, Telling my best friend, and y'all know that very rarely do I do a video without mentioning Terry. But listen, I was on the phone with him not too long ago, and he caught me at a moment where not this last particular moment, but he caught me in a moment where I was cranky as shit. I was like, you know what? I'm really tired of our people not only being the main subjects of all of this brutality, but we still don't seem to get a clue. Like, we are not at the table. As a matter of fact, we don't even fucking know when it's scheduled to be at the table. Like, this shit literally goes on and on and on. These conversations about us without us. Forever and a day, twice on Sundays. Like, what's good for real? Like, what's going on for real? And then to be always having to find out what's going on in this society through some type of mass media outlet. Like, we don't even have somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody who's sitting at the table. Folks love talking about how secondhand smoke kills. Let me tell you something. If we don't get good in understanding that secondhand information is amongst the leading killers of our perception, of our direction, of our sharpness with decision making, I'm going to end it here. I'm going to end it here, and I'm going to suit up for part two. So thanks for joining me. I really do appreciate you being here, and I wish you well.